Chapter 352. Fast 4 Swords. After the first sword, the next 3 swords were like lightning, each faster and heavier than the last. By the time of the last sword, Yi Chen's sword aura had accumulated to the limit. Like a river that had opened its floodgates, it poured down and heavily chopped on White Bone's chest. Puff! Even though he had condensed a layer of Zhen Yuan armor outside his body, with a mid-grade defensive armor inside, White Bone still spurted out a mouthful of blood. His chest seemed to have been pierced through. Piercing through a small hill, White Bone's face was aghast. Was there such a fast sword art? After being hit by one sword, the next 3 were all solid, leaving him no chance to escape. Who is this guy? He actually suppressed an extreme astral reaching expert to the point where he couldn't even retaliate. He seems quite young. Around 20 years old, wearing blue clothes. If my guess is correct, it should be Yi Chen. Yi Chen. The most powerful genius in 1,000 years of Hidden Dragon list, the one who opened the Hidden Dragon's secret realm, Yi Chen. It's only been 2 years. How can his battle power be so powerful? The commotion caused by the battle between the two was huge. All the astral reaching experts within dozens of li were attracted, especially the experts from the 6 great grade 6 sections. It's him. Yan Qihua's expression froze. In his line of sight, Yi Chen, dressed in blue clothes, had his left hand on his scabbard while his right hand was pointing the long sword. His pupils were as gentle as water, emitting a cold light. His body didn't move, but a sky-piercing sword aura locked onto White Bone, who was several li away. Why? Why is he progressing faster than me? Yan Qihua was extremely unconvinced. He thought that Yi Chen would at most reach the peak of early astral reaching realm, and even if he was more powerful than him, it would be limited. However, in these 2 years, not only had his cultivation base reached the peak of early astral reaching realm, his blade intent had also reached 80%, and his 9 twist fire spirit art had also reached the 8th transformation. In the floating mountain, no expert below late astral reaching realm would be his opponent. Who would have thought that not only would Yi Chen's cultivation base surpass his battle power would also be dozens of times more powerful. He could even suppress an extreme astral reaching realm expert. It should be known that there were only about 5 extreme astral reaching realm experts in the South Rudra region, and including those hidden in the dark, there wouldn't be more than 10. Meanwhile, Yan Qihua was still 4 levels away from the extreme astral reaching realm, namely late astral reaching realm, powerful astral reaching realm, peak astral reaching realm, and extreme astral reaching realm. Each level was not that easy to reach. Therefore, Yan Qihua was unconvinced. How could Yi Chen become an extreme astral reaching realm expert in one fell swoop? He must have had a great adventure. Unable to find a reason to convince himself, Yan Qihua subconsciously thought that Yi Chen had succeeded because of a great adventure. Indeed. No wonder Xikong Sheng did not stay in the South Rudra region any longer. He waited until he became the king of the young generation before leaving. It was because he knew that he could not win against Yi Chen. Only by making a breakthrough in another region would he come back and challenge Yi Chen. The king of the young generation in the South Rudra region would not change for the next 5 years. Li Daoxian tightened his left hand on the sword hilt. Li Daoxian let out a breath, and the battle intent on his body dissipated. Only his fighting spirit was burning brighter and brighter. Sigh. The second core elder of the Heartless Martial School sighed. Although he was the core elder of the Heartless Martial School, he had to admit that no one in the young generation could compete with Yi Chen. This kind of situation had not happened for hundreds of years. So many top geniuses were suppressed by an even more powerful genius, losing their splendor. Sensing Li Daoxuan's fighting spirit, he smiled. Perhaps, this was also a good thing. In the young generation that had grown up with Xian Ho, the lowest achievement was the Sea of Soul realm, while the highest had also entered the life and death realm. There was an insurmountable mountain, which was a lifelong challenge for the young generation. The timid ones did not even have the qualifications to look up to the mountain. Only the brave ones could surpass themselves. Her whole body was shrouded in cold qi. Bing Ling's skin was as white as snow, and her black pupils were like 10,000 years old ice. There was no change in her expression, as if Yi Chen's power was already within her expectations. Therefore, she was not surprised, nor was she shaken. Her heart was crystal clear. Continue to be powerful. I will chase after you. Standing on the bloody mountain peak, Bing Ling's temperament seemed exceptionally cold. Ta! The ground cracked, and Mo Yan's whole body froze. He unconsciously rubbed the hard rock, which was corroded into powder by Jin Yuan. Mo Yan. The second core elder of the sky-flying demon sect reminded him. Mo Yan woke up with a start, second elder. The second elder said, a momentary lead does not mean a lifetime lead. Maintain your own heart. I know. Mo Yan said so, but he felt extremely sullen inwardly. His originally natural standing posture suddenly tensed up, making him feel extremely uncomfortable. How could the second elder not hear the insincerity in Mo Yan's words? He smiled bitterly and shifted his gaze to Murong Qingcheng. Before entering the blood demon battlefield, she said that she had no 10% chance. Could it be that she had met Yi Chen before? After all, who would have thought that Yi Chen could contend against extreme astral reaching experts? It should be known that Murong Qingcheng's battle strength was equivalent to a powerful astral reaching expert, and was close to peak astral reaching experts. Not even 10% chance. In the end, Murong Qingcheng had underestimated Yi Chen. In fact, she had guessed that Yi Chen's battle strength was equal to hers, and her chances of victory were not more than 10%. This was where Yi Chen's strength lay. Not to mention that their battle strength was equal, even in a disadvantageous situation, he had the power to reverse the situation. Not to mention that his battle strength had reached the limits of astral reaching realm. Rumble. The mountain peak exploded, and White Bone rushed out. I'll make you pay the price. The black robe on White Bone's body was tattered, and a surging white aura soared into the horizon, tearing apart the bloody clouds. The air around the destruction sword fiercely twisted, and the cold sword light flickered. Yi Chen said indifferently, do you think there's any meaning in saying these words now? As a sword artist, Yi Chen had never lacked confidence. If he couldn't defeat his opponent at the same level, it would be his failure. What was the point of defeating the weak with the strong? The 4 sword strikes just now were nothing profound. They were merely 4 quick sword strikes linked together. One less sword strike would not reach its peak, and one more would be superfluous, turning the sword aura from strong to weak. White Bone Cage. With a cold voice, White Bone rapidly formed seals with both hands. Following the changes of the seals, the surrounding yuan qi of the heaven and earth rapidly fluctuated. Incorporeal ripples radiated in all directions, collapsing the nearby bloody mountains and spreading cracks everywhere. Clang! In the void, countless white bones formed a huge white bone cage. Each bone was as thick as a person's waist, circulating with a cold white light. At the same time, 2 mentalities pervaded the air. One was the mentality of metal, and the other was an extremely tenacious mentality. This mentality was White Bone's unique bone mentality. Human bones were not inanimate objects, and had the unique ability to slowly strengthen. Therefore, once the white bone cage was formed, it would only become more and more tenacious, becoming indestructible. Thus, Yi Chen was trapped within. Chapter 353. It seems to be the remnant of the 9 ghost cult, White Bone Ghost General. How did he come to the Blood Demon battlefield? The Blood Demon battlefield is a chaotic place, and it is also at the border of the South Rudra region. White Bone Ghost General daring to appear here in broad daylight is understandable. It would have been fine if White Bone Ghost General didn't use his ace attacks, but once he did, that unique bone mentality and white bone cage would be too eye-catching. It would be hard not to know his identity. Some of the knowledgeable people recognized White Bone Ghost General at a glance, and the people beside them also understood after being reminded. Should we surround and kill him? After killing the white-boned ghost general, you will be able to obtain a huge reward from the 6 great sects, including a powerful martial art. Are you crazy? Don't you see that the other 4 extreme astral reaching realm warriors haven't made a move yet? Without them, white-boned ghost general could easily escape. If he escapes, don't even think about having a good life in the future. The 6 great sects won't protect your family. You're right. Moreover, for extreme astral reaching realm warriors, the blood evil stones are more important. Wait until all the blood evil beasts are killed, then they will make a move. I don't want to be the first one. Some of the people who were tempted immediately dispelled their impulsive thoughts, feeling a lingering fear. So, it is white-boned ghost general. Shen Tujue squinted his eyes. Back then, white-boned ghost general had killed a lot of people from the floating mountain martial school. Logically speaking, he should have made a move without hesitation. However, the blood evil beasts only appeared once in dozens of years. After this, he didn't know when he would be able to obtain enough blood evil stones. Therefore, compared to the blood evil stones, killing white-boned ghost general could be put aside for a while. Then, his gaze landed on Yi Chen and sneered. This kid was indeed a threat. He was only 20 years old, but he was already an extreme astral reaching realm warrior. If he was allowed to continue growing, no one in the South Rudra region would be able to stop him. Humph, I'll let you live a little longer. When I make my move, it will be the day of your death. Shen Tujue tightened his fist and threw out an attack. That powerful fist power contained an indestructible martial will, blowing apart the blood evil beast in front of him. Unlike Shen Tujue, the Heartless Martial School's headmaster, Pei Yudao, had his eyes fixed on Yi Chen the whole time. Strange. His sword intent is obviously not complete, but it has the trend of condensing a sword spirit. No, this sword intent is similar to the natural Chasm Gorge's sword intent, containing the same profound of immortality. Could this be the biggest reason for him to condense his martial spirit earlier? Pei Yudao was very confused. Without the complete sword intent, it should be impossible to condense a sword spirit, even if it was just the embryonic form of a sword spirit. However, Yi Chen had done it. The sword spirit itself is not that different, they are both the embodiment of the sword will. Only the Battle King 500 years ago had created a completely different kind of sword spirit, which was immortal and indestructible. With one sword strike, the powerful sword intent had existed in the gorge for 500 years, making him one of the top 3 sword artists in the history of the true spirit continent. The first 2 were sword artists from the ancient era, while the other was the #1 sword artist in the medieval era. To be able to be on the same level as them, it was enough to prove the Battle King's achievement in the sword art. Unfortunately, after that battle 500 years ago, no one knows where the Battle King had gone, or whether he was dead or alive. Pei Yudao looked at Yi Chen with a bright light in his eyes. Crack! Crack! The white bone cage was formed at an extremely fast speed. Once it was formed, it started to shrink. The sound of bones squeezing against each other could be heard continuously, which was extremely ear-piercing. Ting! The sword light shot out, and a waist-thick white bone appeared with a deep sword mark. Bone chips flew everywhere. So hard. Yi Chen was shocked. Although that sword attack just now was just a normal sword attack, under the infusion of sword intent, even a peak astral reaching expert would be heavily wounded. But, a white bone condensed from Zhen Yuan had blocked it. How could he not be shocked? White bone ghost general laughed, give up struggling. If your cultivation base were a bit higher, you might be able to break through the white bone cage. Unfortunately, you're only a mid-astral reaching expert. Relying on the quality of Zhen Yuan, you have such battle power. However, the gap between realms isn't that easy to make up for. Peak late astral reaching experts' Zhen Yuan output far exceeds mid-astral reaching experts. The difference in realms was not only the difference in the quality and quantity of Zhen Yuan, but also in many details. For example, the output of Zhen Yuan. If a late astral reaching expert could output 10 units of Jin Yuan in a split second, then a mid-astral reaching expert could output 8 to 9 units at most. White Bone Ghost General's cultivation base had long since reached the peak late astral reaching realm. Under his all-out Jin Yuan output, he could create a huge white bone cage. If an ordinary mid-astral reaching expert or even late astral reaching expert were to be trapped inside, they wouldn't even be able to come out within 2 to 4 hours, unless White Bone stopped his Jin Yuan output. Not necessarily. Bang! One of the white bones was covered in cracks, seeming to be on the verge of collapse. What? White Bone Ghost General almost bit the tip of his tongue. The speed at which his 2 hands formed seals increased, and the abundant Jin Yuan passed through the seals, adding to the white bone cage in a strange way. The white bone cage shrunk smaller and smaller, eventually maintaining a width of 5 meters. Putting the destruction sword back into its scabbard, Yi Qin held the greenwood sword in his hand. The greenwood sword was compatible with the green lotus sword arts, complementing each other. As the sword slashed out, a green radiance pervaded the air, and a huge green lotus was imprinted on the cold sword light. With a thunderous momentum, it heavily slashed at a certain point on the white bone cage. Kacha! This point seemed to be the weak point of the white bone cage. Finger-thick cracks rapidly spread out, and the place where the force was applied even bulged outwards. You can't break through the white bone cage. Die! White Bone Ghost General's 10 fingers cracked open, and blood spurted out. The speed of Jin Yuan output suddenly doubled, and in about 3 breaths' time, his 10 fingers pressed together, letting out a small explosive sound as he roared, white bone-piercing spikes. Puff 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 puff, several meters-long bone spikes appeared in the white bone cage. Some were long, some were short, some were thick, and some were thin. Some were straight like spears, some were curved like blades, some had forks at the front, and some even produced violent explosions, sending tiny bone spikes flying in all directions. Green Lotus Chi Transformation. Explode. Being in the middle of the white bone cage, no matter how fast Yi Chen's sword speed was, it would be impossible for him to block out all the attacks coming from all directions. He was not in a hurry at all. The greenwood sword circled around his body, and countless green lotuses appeared out of nowhere. The lotuses expanded, and countless sword chi blossomed, welcoming the attacks coming from all directions. If the storm was extremely noisy, then the sound of Yi Chen blocking out the bone spikes was dozens of times louder than the storm. The concentrated sound of the spikes spread out, and if it were a normal person, even just hearing the sound would make their heart speed up, and they would die on the spot. Green Lotus Accumulation. Shrinking his soul power into a 5-meter radius, Yi Chen quickly found a huge flaw while blocking out the bone spikes. This flaw existed at the same time as the white bone cage's attack, and was the side effect of the Jin Yuan change. Of course, if the white bone ghost general did not attack Yi Chen, within 3 or 4 sword attacks, Yi Chen would still be able to break out of the cage. Cutting down the incoming bone spikes, Yi Chen stabbed his sword into the white bone. A dot of blue light lit up on the tip of the sword, and a green lotus rapidly expanded from that dot. It forcibly broke the white bone cage and exploded, shooting out towards the white bone ghost general who was hundreds of meters away. Chin! The shockwave spread out, and the white bone ghost general's seal formation was forcibly broken. The white bone cage shattered by itself, turning into Jin Yuan and normal natural Yuan Qi, disappearing into the surreal space. After breaking out of the cage, Yi Chen did not even think before performing the 8th movement of the Green Lotus Sword Arts, the Green Lotus Sprouting, which was also his most powerful sword movement. The sword light crisscrossed, incomparably powerful. The white bone ghost general had the thought of retreating. Yi Chen's strength was beyond his imagination. Today, he finally understood the terror of the #1 genius of South Rudra region. If he didn't retreat, he would very likely be injured if the battle dragged on. In the eyes of numerous astral reaching experts, he would definitely be the target to be rewarded. He had no choice but to consider it. Using killing moves one after another, the white-boned ghost general counteracted the sword light. Not good. The sword light was shattered and turned into an even more powerful sword light. Caught off guard, the white bone armor on white bone's body exploded. The mid-rank defensive great armor neutralized a part of the power, and the rest of the power poured into his body. Puff! Spurting out a mouthful of blood, the white bone ghost general had at least 4 or 5 of his ribs broken, and one of them had pierced into his internal organs. Even the slightest movement would cause a heart-wrenching pain. Towering green lotus. The green lotus germination was just a part of the process. The second half of the green lotus sky soar was the essence of the 8th style. The sword beam shone brightly like a towering tree, devouring white bone. It rushed into the mountain a mile away and quickly took root. From afar, the gigantic sword beam looked like a towering tree, and white bone was at the roots of the tree, looking extremely pathetic. Blood spurted out from his 7 orifices as he shattered the sword light. Just as he was about to rush out of the mountain, a blood light suddenly flickered, and a slender blood shadow pierced through the ghost general's head. By the time the slender blood shadow left, the ghost general had already turned into a dried corpse, without any signs of life. The ghost general of a generation was ultimately killed by the blood evil beast. It could not be denied that it was an irony. Huff! Letting out a breath, Yichen relaxed his taut nerves. The white bone ghost general was different from the blood demon. He was a veteran extreme astral reaching expert. Even if his battle power had greatly increased and he didn't fear any extreme astral reaching expert, killing the white bone ghost general would still be a very difficult task. After killing the white bone ghost general, the color of the blood evil beast became increasingly rich. It unexpectedly swept towards Yichen, its wriggling body streaking through the air without a single air-piercing sound. Die! At this moment, Yichen didn't fear the blood evil beast at all. Without retreating or dodging, he quickly slashed out with his sword. Puff! The sword light cleaved open the blood evil beast's body. However, the blood evil beast's recovery power was even higher than the blood demon's, and it soon recovered to its original state. Yichen was already mentally prepared. The 7th style of the Green Lotus sword art, Green Lotus Sky, froze the blood evil beast's body. Countless green lotuses turned into sword chi, cutting the blood evil beast into nothingness. Pata! A blood-red stone fell off. Yichen could see the extraordinariness of the stone, so he tried to absorb it. Little bastard, you don't have the qualifications to obtain the blood evil stone. Leave it to me, Shintujue. A huge hand burning with Zhen Yuan pierced through the air, grabbing the blood evil stone before retreating. It was precisely Shintujue, who had seized the opportunity. Chapter 354. Let go. How could Yichen allow Shintujue to snatch his things? Seeing that the Zhen Yuan giant hand was about to return to its starting point, Yichen didn't have time to think. His left index finger pointed in the air, and a deep azure sword chi shot out. It was precisely the increasingly powerful Green Lotus sword chi. Pang! The Green Lotus sword chi cut on the Zhen Yuan giant hand one after another, bursting forth with Zhen Yuan sparks. The intense shockwave collapsed the nearby mountains. Come back! The Zhen Yuan giant hand shattered, and the infant fist-sized blood evil stone turned into a bloodline, falling in Yichen's hand. What a fierce evil chi! As soon as the blood evil stone entered his hand, a strand of evil chi drilled into Yichen's mind, attacking him again and again. Fortunately, Yichen's sword intent was extraordinary, easily guarding his mind and soul. No matter how the evil chi attacked, he remained unmoved. The surrounding astral reaching experts were stupefied. What kind of person was Shintujue? He was the core elder of Floating Mountain, one of the extreme astral reaching experts of South Rudra region. With a single word, his subordinates could annihilate a grade 7 sect. Under Sea of Soul Realm, there was almost no one and no power in South Rudra region that could threaten him. And now, Yi Chen actually dared to resist Shin Tujue. It should be known that Shin Tujue was different from White-Boned Ghost General. The latter was a loner, while the former was peak in both strength and power. The spirit of South Rudra region's #1 genius is indeed extraordinary. With such spirit, as long as he doesn't die, he will certainly have great accomplishments in the future. At this moment, the powerful astral reaching experts of Blood Demon Battlefield recognized Yi Chen for the first time, and were impressed by his bearing and courage. Shin Tujue's face alternated between green and red as he said in a low voice, "Little bastard, don't think that you can escape with your life just because you have the strength of an extreme astral reaching expert. I'll let you know right now what it means to be a mantis trying to stop a chariot." As his voice faded, Shin Tujue's body shook, causing the void to sway as he threw a punch at Yi Chen. Rumble. This punch contained the unparalleled heavy concept of earth. Under the reinforcement of Yi Chen's martial will, the air exploded layer by layer and extended rapidly toward Yi Chen. As he floated in midair, Yi Chen wasn't afraid in the slightest. With a flick of his wrist, sword lights rose explosively, and one could faintly see that the surface of every sword light of various sizes was branded with a lifelike azure lotus. Dong! The earth split apart. Yi Chen and Shin Tujue both slid back a dozen steps, the tyrannical shock waves constantly pressuring their bodies. What a strong will! It's like a great river. This was the first time Yi Chen had felt the power of will from a martial artist. It was different from the extremely condensed sword intent. Although the martial artist's will was integrated into one, it had a huge range, and it had the feeling of suppressing others with its power. Because of this, although Yi Chen's willpower was inferior to Shin Tujue's, he was able to contend against his opponent in terms of offense. Shin Tujue's eyebrows twitched. 5 years ago, he had obtained a blood evil stone, and the total amount of his martial will far surpassed other martial artists of the same level. Although his martial will wasn't as concentrated as his sword will, no matter what, his cultivation and realm surpassed Yi Chen's. Interesting. If you can receive my next attack, I'll let you die a quick death. I'll only kill half of the people related to you. Shin Tujue fiercely raised his chi and pushed his hands upwards. A vast and terrifying power rose up, causing the surrounding area to tremble and the air to distort. Seeing Shin Tujue's strange state, the Fire Spirit Hall's Grand Elder Qi Jin Yan was somewhat puzzled. It seemed that his opponent was going to use that strange martial art. However, was Yi Chen worth it? In Qi Jin Yan's view, besides his sword intent and sword moves, Yi Chen didn't have any other strong points. Dragon Elephant Strength Technique. As Shin Tujue's voice resounded, waves of majestic dragon roars and elephant trumpeting sounds that ordinary people couldn't hear came from his body. Floating in the air, Shin Tujue's aura rose endlessly, as if he was the center of this area, the king of this area. Kacha! Stretching out his right hand, Shin Tujue exerted strength in his arm, uprooting a nearby mountain that was thousands of meters tall, and throwing it towards Yi Chen. The scene of a mountain flying at several times the speed of sound was too terrifying. In the air, thunder and lightning intersected and dark clouds covered the sky, as if the end of the world had arrived. All sound was isolated outside, nothing could be heard, nothing could be felt, and even time seemed to have stopped. In the distance, Mo Yen sneered. As an elder of the Sky-Flying Demon Martial School, he had some understanding of the top martial arts of all the Rank 6 martial schools. The martial art that Shin Tujue had used was not unique to the Floating Mountain Martial School, but a powerful supplementary martial art that he had obtained by chance. It was said that once this martial art was used, the power would increase by 10 times, and it would have the power of Dragon Elephant. Tearing mountains and splitting the earth would be a piece of cake. 5 years ago, Shin Tujue was an extreme astral reaching expert second only to Pei Yudao. Now that his power has increased by a lot, he has even surpassed Pei Yudao. Yi Chen will definitely not be able to block him. Mo Yan's eyes were burning with passion, looking forward to the scene of Yi Chen being crushed into a bloody pulp. Dragon Elephant Strength Technique? For some reason, Yichen thought of the unknown fist art that he had bought in the Martial City Trading Palace. The first two words of that fist art were also, Dragon Elephant. The flying mountain was too big, covering more than 10 li. Even if Yichen's speed was faster, he wouldn't be able to avoid it, and would instead be at a disadvantage. Therefore, facing such a huge monster, Yichen could only do one thing, and that was to face it with all his strength. Shu! Chin! Putting the greenwood sword back into its scabbard, the thunder sword came out of its scabbard. The green lotus Shen Yuan inside Yichen's body was pushed to the limit, and the strength that he normally didn't use was also brought out, gathering on his right arm. With a creaking sound, Yichen's right arm swelled up. The powerful muscles pushed up his clothes, filling it with a layer of jade color. Sky-shattering clouds. Exerting strength from his waist, the power traveled along his spine to his right arm. Yichen held the sword with both hands, and the sword carried the might of thunder as it heavily chopped towards the mountain. Crack! The sword light was like a thunderbolt, hitting the weakest part of the mountain. No sound came out, because it had already been annihilated. In the sky, one after another, soundless thunder rumbled down like rain. In the next second, the sky was filled with broken rocks like a fountain, spraying towards the sky. Each piece contained an astonishing amount of electricity. Blocked it? Mo Yan's gloating expression stiffened. Shintuju's expression froze, then he roared, "Let's see how you block it this time." Rumble. Two mountains were uprooted, smashing towards Yichen from both sides. Chop. Green lotus seizing light. The greenwood sword was unsheathed, and Yichen chopped out with the thunder sword in his right hand, while his right hand raised the greenwood sword to block. A several-meter-wide green lotus appeared in the air, looking vivid and lifelike. A sharp green chi spread out, forming a tough defensive area. Buzz! The mountain on the right shattered, while the mountain on the left smashed into the green lotus. From afar, Yichen's figure could not be seen at all. After all, compared to the 1,000-meter-tall, several-meter-wide mountain, the several-meter-wide green lotus and the 2-meter-tall Yichen looked very small. Without considering the result, it could be described as a mantis trying to stop a chariot. The greenwood sword trembled, and the momentum of the mountain was reduced, bouncing back in the opposite direction. After smashing the flying mountain into pieces with a palm, Shintuju was just about to make his move. Suddenly, a slender blood shadow scuttled out from a relatively larger boulder inside the mountain. This blood shadow's body was like a snake, but its front end began to have the shape of a beast. There were even two tiny front limbs growing out of its body. Semi-beast blood evil beast. Among the blood evil beasts, the beast blood evil beasts were the most powerful, and the demi-beast blood evil beasts were second. Normal blood evil beasts had long bodies. In terms of battling power, any extreme astral reaching realm warrior could beat it. Shoo! The demi-beast blood evil beast shot out, trying to devour Shintuju. Not good. Shintuju was very clear about the power of the demi-beast blood evil beast, which was powerful enough to compete with the most powerful extreme astral reaching realm warriors. As for the beast blood evil beasts, no one under the Sea of Souls realm could rival them. They were rather nature-defying existences, and could not be easily seen. Otherwise, even 5 or 6 extreme astral reaching realm warriors would not be its opponent. Dragon Elephant Shield. With a wave of his hands, the air in front of Shintuju's chest twisted. A mighty dragon roar and elephant cry soared into the sky, blocking out the demi-beast blood evil beast's attack. Boom! After his defense was shattered, Shintuju's face turned pale as he was blown back. It is a demi-beast blood evil beast. The white-robed blade artist's breathing accelerated. Gold Rock chuckled, the blood evil stone inside the demi-beast blood evil beast is 3 to 4 times more effective than normal stones. As long as I can get one, condensing the blade's soul would not be a problem at all. I might even be able to condense the blade's soul in one go. Then, reaching the Sea of Souls realm in the future would not be that hard anymore. The Blood Evil Stone was too important for astral-reaching realm warriors. Without enough Blood Evil Stone to refine their willpower, they would have to rely on their own efforts. Warriors who were not that talented would never be able to reach the Sea of Souls realm. Therefore, this Blood Evil Stone was something that the white-robed blade artist had to obtain. Silent Sword. Pei Yudao was the first to attack. He immediately used the ace attack of the emotionless sword arts. The sword light was extremely condensed, and it was completely silent. Shoo! A sword mark appeared on the demi-beast Blood Evil Beast's forehead. Such a powerful defense. Frowning, Pei Yudao made up his mind and burned his Jin Yuan to its limit. His body flashed as he charged toward the demi-beast Blood Evil Beast. Pei Yudao, this Blood Evil Beast does not belong to you alone. The other 3 extreme astral-reaching realm warriors also attacked. This blood red stone is not a simple item. It has the effect of training the willpower. And, this Blood Evil Beast is several times more powerful than normal ones. The blood red stone inside its body should be even more effective. I cannot let it go. Willpower and sword intent were 2 different concepts. A powerful will did not mean a powerful sword intent. But, a powerful will meant that the potential of the sword intent would be correspondingly powerful, and the speed of training would be a lot faster. Moreover, Yi Chen had some understanding of Shintujue's willpower. It should be pure willpower, and there would not be many changes. Once the blood red stone landed in their hands, it could easily increase their willpower, unlike the sword intent, which had a transformation process. Therefore, the blood red stone could increase the power of Shintujue and the others even faster. It would be a bit difficult for sword artists to use it. Understanding the key, Yi Chen started to calculate, planning to snatch the food from the tiger's mouth. Chapter 355. Yi Chen did not rush up immediately. He was very clear that the beast was not that easy to deal with. If he went up now, it would be useless. This was going to be a long battle. Extinguishing his burning Jin Yuan, Yi Chen swallowed a meridian repairing pill. Then, he coldly watched the fierce battle between the beast and the 2. Damn it! A few miles away, Shintujue spat out a mouthful of blood. The full power attack from the beast had left him with a light injury. Fortunately, this injury was nothing. What made him angry was that because of the appearance of the beast, he was faced with 2 choices, to kill Yi Chen, or to snatch the Blood Evil Stone from the beast. It had to be known that this Blood Evil Stone was equivalent to 3 or 4 ordinary Blood Evil Stones. Moreover, its evil chi was much purer and easier to use. If he missed this opportunity, it would be hard to get another one in the future. Count yourself lucky. After hesitating for a while, Shintujue turned around and pounced at the beast. Compared to killing Yi Chen, fighting for the Blood Evil Stone was more attractive. Get lost. The vigorous dragon form technique was pushed to its peak. Every move of Shintujue's contained the power of the dragon and elephant. He punched out, causing the void to tremble. The white-robed bladesman, who was fighting with the Blood Evil Beast, was shaken to the side, allowing him to snatch an excellent position. The white-robed blade artist's face turned gloomy. In terms of strength, although he was not as strong as Shintujue, who had condensed the embryonic form of his martial spirit, the gap was very small. If he could not beat his opponent, then Shintujue would not be able to do anything to him. What he was afraid of was Shintujue's identity as the core elder of Floating Mountain. 1 blade 7 flashes. With a domineering look in his eyes, the white-robed blade artist waved his blade towards the beast and Shintujue. 7 blade lights flashed continuously, dazzling the eyes of the surrounding people. You're courting death. The tyrannical martial will not only amplified Shintujue's attack, it also amplified his defense. Moreover, the white-robed bladesman still had some misgivings in his heart, and did not focus all of his attacks on Shintujue's body. He only brushed past Shintujue slightly. Therefore, apart from the distortion of his protective Jin Yuan, Shen Tujue did not receive any injuries. Even so, Shen Tujue still flew into a rage, and listed the white-robed bladesman as a must-kill target. The white-robed bladesman said coldly, "Ever since I, Wang Pao, comprehended saber intent, I have never feared anyone. Shen Tuju, if you want to fight, I will accompany you." "Wang Pao, just you wait." Shen Tuju issued a warning. The two of them spoke ruthlessly, but in fact, they did not intend to fight immediately. If they could get the Blood Evil Stone from the half-beast Blood Evil Beast, it would be more meaningful than killing 100 people. Noticing this scene, Yi Chen revealed a pensive expression. It seemed like this Shen Tujue had been in a high position for a long time, and did not put anyone outside of the rank 6 martial schools in his eyes. No matter what he did, he would not allow others to resist. Unfortunately, as an extreme astral-reaching blade artist, how could he not have his own dignity? The enemy of an enemy was a friend. Shoo! Right at this moment, Pei Yu Dao used his most powerful ace. The long sword in his hand trembled, and a cold star suddenly appeared, shooting towards the center of the half-beast Blood Evil Beast's body, where the Blood Evil Stone was located. With a puff sound, the cold star pierced through the half-beast's body. However, the opponent's movements were extremely fast. With a slight twist of its body, the cold star merely brushed past the Blood Evil Stone. Looking at it with the naked eye, one could clearly see the Blood Evil Stone on the other side of the hole. Pei Yu Dao sighed inwardly. The cold star sword art was the 10th movement of the emotionless sword art. The sword chi condensed into a single point, unstoppable and unstoppable. Its only weakness was that the point of attack was too small, and if one missed, it would not cause too much damage. Of course, if he could train the cold star sword art to the highest level, then the only weakness would disappear, and he would be able to create an explosion within his opponent's body. However, the emotionless sword art only had 11 movements in total, and each one was harder to train than the previous one. The 10th movement, the emotionless sword art, was even more powerful than the 8th movement of a normal top-rank Earth Realm sword art. With his talent in sword arts, there was no way for him to comprehend the cold star sword art all of a sudden. After all, he had only been given the emotionless sword art when he became a core master, and had not been training since he was young. Taking chestnuts out of the fire. On the other side, the core master of the Fire Spirit Palace, Gold Rock, saw that Pei Yu Dao had almost gotten the Blood Evil Stone. He could not keep his cool anymore. He twirled the long blade in his hand, and the blade chi rotated, stabbing towards the location of the Blood Evil Stone inside the beast's body. Dragon Elephant Attack. The blade chi was shattered. It was Shen Tujue who had attacked. His right hand was empty, and the fist power he had thrown out was extremely powerful. The beast's body had been shattered, and the Blood Evil Stone could be vaguely seen. Gold Rock was filled with hatred in his heart. However, if it were him, he would have done the same thing. Compared to a pure Blood Evil Stone, why would he care about feelings? Were feelings more important than power? Pei Yu Dao's longsword trembled as he performed an extremely frightening cold star sword. The speed of the cold star sword was far faster than Yi Chen's. It was as if the stars in the sky had flashed once. A finger-sized hole appeared on Yi Chen's protective Jin Yuan, piercing through his abdomen. So powerful. Yi Chen sucked in a breath of cold air. His left hand continuously pointed, stopping the bleeding wound. One blade's 7 flashes. The white-robed blade artist's eyes flickered with hesitation, but he resolutely waved his long blade. Dodging 5 blade lights, the remaining 2 landed on Yi Chen's back. Fortunately, Yi Chen was wearing a mid-rank defensive armor, so the blade light couldn't break through it and hit Yi Chen's body. However, the power contained in the blade light made him puke out 3 mouthfuls of blood, which was not a light injury. "Brat, your strength is not bad. This Blood Evil Stone is yours. I, Wang Pao, will not chase you anymore." Putting his long blade back into its scabbard, the white-robed blade artist stopped chasing. Many thanks. Yichen didn't blame him for injuring him. If it were him, he would have done the same. Shen Tujue's eyes narrowed, remembering the white-robed blade artist in his heart. His left hand shot out a dragon-shaped shockwave, while his right hand raised into the air and heavily smashed down. An elephant condensed from Zhenyuan fell from the sky, suppressing the flying Yichen. Shadow explosion. In this critical moment, Yichen once again performed the ultimate skill of the separating shadow movement art. His human figure flickered, exploding out fiercely. His real body barely dodged the elephant condensed from Zhenyuan. However, the dragon-shaped shockwave was even more frightening than the elephant condensed from Zhenyuan. It opened its mouth, and all the shadows were destroyed, leaving only Yichen's real body. Instant kill fire dragon chop. Gold Rock grasped the opportunity, waving out a dragon-shaped blade light. The blade light flashed, wrapping around Yichen, and ruthlessly brushed past him. Ha, brat, let's see where you can run to. Facing the repeated attacks, Yichen's speed had dropped by a lot. Gradually, the other three caught up. Shen Tujue said while attacking. Yichen, it's not easy for you to grow to where you are today. Give me the blood evil stone, and I can protect your life. Shen Tujue shouldn't even think about killing you. Pei Yudao transmitted his Zhenyuan to Yichen. In his opinion, Yichen, who was at the end of his rope, would not refuse his good intentions. Yichen's expression was firm, I'm sorry. If I can't even grasp the opportunity when it falls into my hands, how can I talk about growth? Hearing this, Pei Yudao sighed, and killing intent condensed in his eyes. Pang! As soon as he finished speaking, blood flowed out of Yichen's 7 orifices. It was Shen Tujue who had launched an attack on him. The incomparably berserk power penetrated through the mid-grade armor, causing him serious internal injuries. This won't do. If this goes on, I'll be beaten to death. Looks like I have no choice but to use that move. I must succeed. Yichen knew his situation better than anyone else. Without 2 or 3 moves, he would not even have the strength to fight back. Therefore, he had to break away from the three's pursuit in the shortest time possible. The only way for him to break away from the pursuit was his newly created move. This move was still not proficient, and had a high failure rate. Otherwise, he would have used it long ago, instead of waiting until now. Bang! Under Yichen's control, his protective Zhenyuan collapsed with a loud bang, turning into specks of light that floated around him. The specks of light combined together, forming layers of sword light that surrounded him. Quick! Raising the index and middle fingers of his right hand, Yichen controlled the sword light and pointed it forward. Chapter 356. Hum, hum, hum. Waves of sword cries resounded as the sword light wrapped around Yichen and shot out. It was as if an aurora had pierced through heaven and earth, traveling several li in an instant. Success! Yichen was overjoyed. His consciousness sunk into his body, and he immediately felt the green lotus Zhenyuan turn into Zhenyuan threads, continuously fusing into the sword light and propelling his body forward. At this moment, his speed doubled. What? The three behind him were shocked. Before, their speed was still above Yichen's, and they were about to catch up. But, they did not expect that Yichen had performed some kind of secret art, and his speed had skyrocketed, leaving them 2 miles behind in the blink of an eye. Damn it, we can't let this kid get away. Shen Tujue roared. The martial will that had condensed into the embryonic form of his martial spirit was added to his Zhenyuan, and his flying speed also increased drastically. Although he could not catch up to Yichen immediately, he did not think that Yichen would be able to persist. As long as he did not fall too far behind, he would eventually catch up. Pei Yudao and Gold Rock had also cultivated some secret techniques to increase their speed, so they were far behind Yichen and Shen Tujue. There's a conveyor gate below. After flying for several hundred li, Yi Chen gradually felt that he couldn't take it anymore. Seeing a conveyor gate below, he dived down without thinking. Puchi. The incomparably sharp sword light wrapped around Yi Chen, slicing through several high-rank blood demons. Less than 10 meters away from the conveyor gate, Yi Chen immediately stopped the flow of Jin Yuan, dispersed the sword light around him, and stepped into the blood-red whirlpool. On one of the islands of the Bloodstone Islands, Yi Chen's figure appeared out of nowhere. Shen Tujue was only thrown a few dozen li away by me. After 6 or 7 breaths, he will be transported out. Ambushing him here will only cause him some injuries at most, and won't be able to kill him in one go. Once I'm entangled with him, the other two will come out, and it will be too late. The thought of ambushing him flashed through his mind, but Yi Chen immediately rejected it. He flew towards the boundless lake, making everyone on the island confused. Not long after, Shen Tuju was teleported out. Which direction did that kid escape to? Grabbing an astral reaching expert with his Jin Yuan hand, Shen Tuju sternly shouted. The captured astral reaching realm warrior pointed to the left in panic. There. Humph. Tossing the other party aside, Shen Tuju burst forth with speed, heading in the direction the other party was pointing at. Soon after, Pei Yudao and Gold Rock came out. The people in the vicinity observed their expressions, and hurriedly pointed in the direction that Yi Chen and Shen Tuju had left. When the two of them walked far away, the crowd started discussing. What's going on? The core elders of the 3 rank 6 sects seem to be chasing after that young man. It's probably a conflict of interest. Conflict of interests? That young man is merely 20 years old, yet he managed to provoke 3 extreme astral reaching realm warriors to hunt him down. No matter what the consequences are, this kind of means is enough to make people gasp in admiration. Above the boundless star region lake, Yi Chen's body was sparkling. His Jin Yuan kept shattering and splashing everywhere. Sure enough, the sword light flying art is still very unstable. Being able to use it before was largely due to luck. The sword light flying art was a secret art that Yi Chen had created when he felt that his attack speed surpassed his movement speed. The key point of this secret art was to link his body with the condensed sword light and then launch an attack. In this way, he could theoretically catch up to the speed of the attack. However, Yi Chen was still unable to perfectly link his body with the sword light. The balance between the two was hard to grasp. My speed is only a bit slower than Shen Tuju's. If I keep this distance, he won't be able to lock onto me and launch an effective attack. Unable to use the sword light flying art, Yi Chen wasn't impatient. Blazing Jin Yuan, his figure turned into a wisp of black smoke, lightly sweeping through the air. 20 li away, Shen Tuju saw Yi Chen's figure from afar. His voice, wrapped in Jin Yuan, transmitted out at an unimaginable speed, "Leave behind the blood evil stone. Otherwise, today will be the day of your death." Yi Chen didn't say a word. "Bastard, go die." Shen Tuju punched out. The boundless fist energy was like a long dragon, rapidly approaching Yi Chen. Pang! His protective Jin Yuan slightly distorted. Under the effect of the fist energy, Yi Chen's speed didn't decrease, but instead increased, increasing the distance between him and Shen Tuju. Damn it! Shen Tuju clearly understood what was going on. Although an extreme astral reaching expert's attack was powerful, if the distance was too far, there was no way to guarantee 100% of its might. When that fist landed on Yi Chen's body, it only had 30% of its might remaining. Since his attack couldn't do anything to Yi Chen, Shen Tuju didn't waste any more time. He focused all his attention on increasing his speed, closing the distance bit by bit. Dozens of li behind Shen Tuju, Pei Yudao and Gold Rock caught up one after the other. In the blood demon battlefield, blood evil beasts would only appear once every few decades. Each time, they would appear, at most a dozen or so. They and the deceased White Bone Ghost General had killed 11 blood evil beasts in total. The remaining ones were hidden in the depths, and weren't easy to find. Moreover, even if they killed all the remaining blood evil beasts, the blood evil stone they could obtain wouldn't even be worth half of that blood evil stone. Otherwise, they wouldn't have mobilized so many people to chase after Yi Chen. If I knew it would be so troublesome, I would have joined hands with Shen Tuju to kill this kid. Activating his Jin Yuan, Gold Rock thought bitterly. Pei Yudao wasn't too angry. What should be his would be his in the end. What shouldn't be his, as long as he tried his best, everything would be fine. The four, one in front and one in the back, flew at extreme speed. Passing astral reaching experts, upon seeing this scene, all stopped in the vicinity, looking at each other in astonishment. Unknowingly, several hours had passed, and the sun was slowly setting in the west. Stuffing a Jin Yuan replenishing 7-star pill and a Meridian repairing Wonder Spirit pill, Yi Chen turned his head to look back. Shen Tuju was persistently chasing after him. The distance between the two was gradually closing in on the 10 li mark. At this moment, neither side was burning Jin Yuan. Astral reaching experts rarely burn Jin Yuan for more than half an hour, as doing so would result in enormous side effects. Yi Chen was able to maintain a distance of more than 10 li thanks to his tyrannical body. To a certain extent, he could burn Jin Yuan for a quarter of an hour more than Shen Tuju. Otherwise, he would have been overtaken 2 hours ago. The Blood Demon battlefield is at the border of South Rudra region. After a few hours of flying, I should be 60 to 70,000 li away from South Rudra region. At Yi Chen's level, the speed of rushing at full speed was extremely frightening. Of course, very few people would rush at full speed under normal circumstances. This was due to endurance. Another few hours passed by, and it was already deep into the night. Ha, little bastard, let's see where you can run now. Dragon Elephant Strike. Closing the distance of 7 to 8 li, Shen Tuju raised his Jin Yuan and punched at Yi Chen. Pang! After half a day of rushing, Yi Chen was already exhausted. Adding the numerous attacks he had received before, the internal and external injuries were constantly corroding his body. His soul power had clearly sensed Shen Tuju's attack, but he was unable to effectively dodge it, and thus received the punch. Spurting out a mouthful of blood, Yi Chen's mind was a bit muddled. Hold on a little longer. Relying on his powerful sword will, Yi Chen bit the tip of his tongue and forced himself to be clear-headed. He numbly operated his Jin Yuan, maintaining his peak speed. Shen Tuju was also very tired. However, he believed that the first to fall would be Yi Chen. Suppress for me. Raising his right hand, he smashed down from the air, and an elephant condensed from Jin Yuan loudly descended. Break! Gathering his remaining strength, Yi Chen pulled out the thunder sword and slashed at the Jin Yuan elephant. Rumble! A powerful shockwave radiated out, and Yi Chen's figure swayed incessantly. Shen Tuju once again caught up to him. The distance between the two was less than 5 li, damn it. My Jin Yuan is about to be exhausted. The 7-star pill could indeed replenish Jin Yuan, but there was a subtle conversion process involved. After such a long time of rushing, the impurities within Yi Chen's body were quite numerous. His Jin Yuan refining speed was horrifyingly slow, and it had already reached the point of being one disaster after another. On the other hand, Shen Tuju was at the peak of late astral reaching realm after all. His Jin Yuan was a bit more vigorous than Yi Chen's, and there was no lack of better pills than the 7-star pill in Floating Mountain. Therefore, his situation was much better than Yi Chen's. Seeing Yi Chen's speed slowing down, Shen Tuju was overjoyed. Pei Yudao and the Gold Rock were dozens of li away from them. After killing Yi Chen, the blood evil stone inside the half-beast blood evil beast's body was clearly his. In the future, he could rely on this blood evil stone to condense a true martial soul. Laughing heartily, Shen Tuju didn't attack Yi Chen. He wanted to maintain his Jin Yuan advantage, and couldn't waste it. Inside his dantian, the Jin Yuan core started to dim. The green lotus sword chi that was revolving around the core seemed to have sensed that Jin Yuan was running out, so it started to shatter in an orderly manner, merging with the core and barely providing enough Jin Yuan for Yi Chen. However, if it went on like this, the Jin Yuan formed by the green lotus sword chi would not be able to last for too long. 1 disappeared. 2 disappeared. 3 disappeared. 6 disappeared. Only 1 green lotus sword chi remains. In the blood demon battlefield, Yi Chen had used a total of 2 green lotus sword chi. Of the remaining 7, 6 had been transformed into pure green lotus Jin Yuan, and only 1 remained, revolving around the Jin Yuan core. Just as he was about to reach the end of the line, a huge fog suddenly appeared before him. Yi Chen did not even think about it before rushing in. "Where do you think you're going?" Shen Tuju didn't think too much and charged into the fog. "Something's wrong." The next moment, Shen Tuju's face was overwhelmed with shock as he shot out. Looking around, Shen Tuju muttered, "This is the Star Regional Lakes Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone, a path of no return for astral-reaching experts. I almost fell in." Soon, Pei Yudao and Gold Rock appeared. Gold Rock said doubtfully, "Shen Tuju, I lost him." Pei Yudao shook his head with a grave expression, "This is the Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone. It's 30,000 li wide. Even Sea of Soul Realm experts would have to spend a long time to come out. Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone." The night was too dark, and Gold Rock didn't pay much attention to it. Hearing Pei Yudao's words, he immediately discovered the abnormality of the fog. The radiating of his spirit power was unexpectedly restricted by 90%. Normally, he could radiate 10 li, but now, he could only radiate 1 li. Chapter 357. This kid has it easy. Knowing how frightening Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone was, Gold Rock cut off the thoughts in his heart. He had never heard of an astral-reaching expert entering and coming out. Once trapped inside, even Sea of Soul Realm experts wouldn't be able to save him. Perhaps a Life and Death King might have the ability, but who could invite a Life and Death King to save him? From now on, he might never see this person again. Shen Tujue, who had stopped at the edge of the fog, seemed to be unwilling. He placed his right hand before his chest and pushed out. This palm didn't have any offensive power. As the palm energy spread out, a fierce palm wind radiated out, blowing away the fog of several li. The fog in the surroundings seemed to have come to life, scrambling to fill the empty space swept away by the palm wind. After a few blinks of an eye, the fog became even denser, without the slightest gap. The fog contained a strange substance, making the transmission of mental power extremely difficult. "Damn it! My blood evil stone!" Shen Tujue gnashed his teeth. The blood evil stone had been taken away by Yi Chen, and was now completely cut off from him. Relying on the 3 ordinary blood evil stones in his hands, his chances of condensing a martial spirit didn't exceed 20%. He didn't know when he would be able to obtain another one. Rumble. The lake water caved in under Shen Tujue's attack, looking like an overturned cauldron. Pei Yudao didn't say anything and flew back the way he came. Rather than wasting time here, he might as well try his luck in the blood demon battlefield. Who knew, he might be able to kill 1 or 2 of the remaining blood evil beasts. Seeing Shen Tujue's flustered and exasperated appearance, Gold Rock's heart calmed down a lot. He comforted himself, even if I capture that kid, my chances of obtaining the blood evil stone won't exceed 30%. If Shen Tujue obtains it, the #1 astral-reaching expert in South Rudra region would be without a doubt. Hee, Shen Tujue, I'll take my leave first. Laughing heartily, Gold Rock turned around and left. Humph. Although I didn't obtain the blood evil stone, I still dealt with a peak genius who could threaten Floating Mountain Sect. Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone isn't as simple as not being able to leave. Just wait for your death inside. Furiously looking at the fog, Shen Tujue thought bitterly. Swish. Shen Tujue chased after Pei Yudao and Gold Rock. He couldn't see the stars, the scenery around him, or even the lake water. Yi Chen seemed to have entered another world, isolated from the outside world. Fortunately, only 10% of my soul power is restricted, while 90% of my mental power is restricted. The biggest difference between Yi Chen and astral reaching realm warriors was that not only could he use his powerful soul power, he could also use his mental power. And, the soul power was the source of the mental power. There were not many things that could restrict it, not even that strange fog. As this thought flashed through his mind, Yi Chen fell head first into the ice-cold lake. When Shintuju and the other two returned to the Blood Demon battlefield, it was already the morning of the next day. There were more and more astral-reaching realm warriors at the edge of the burial mound, no less than hundreds of them. With the white-robed blade artist there, no one was afraid of the blood-evil beasts rushing out to kill them all, since no matter how powerful they were, they would not be able to kill an extreme astral-reaching realm warrior and hundreds of astral-reaching realm warriors who were not weak at all. Whoosh! 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 At this moment, 3 streaks of light streaked across the sky and flew over. They're here. I wonder if Yi Chen was killed. He's probably dead. With 3 extreme astral-reaching realm warriors joining hands, no one under Sea of Soul realm would be able to escape. Don't forget that Shen Tujue and Pei Yudao are the top existences among extreme astral-reaching realm warriors. Their individual strength surpasses Yi Chen's. What a pity. It's been many years since such a stunning genius has appeared in South Rudra region. Everyone discussed spiritedly, their faces revealing expressions of pity. Seeing the 3 return, the white-robed blade artist creased his brows. Emotionally, he didn't wish for Yi Chen to die. Rationally, Yi Chen had indeed died 9 times out of 10. He had a bit of friendship with Pei Yudao, so he asked, Pei Yudao, what's the situation? Pei Yudao said indifferently, there won't be a second Yi Chen in this world. Dead? Pei Yudao shook his head, then nodded, not dead, but it's no different from being dead. He entered the 30,000 Li Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone. 30,000 Li Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone. The white-robed blade artist's pupils shrank. 20 years ago, his master had also entered the Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone, and had yet to return. At that time, his master was known as one of the 3 extreme astral-reaching realm warriors of South Rudra region, and his strength could only be higher than his. Hearing the conversation between the white-robed blade artist and Pei Yudao, everyone turned silent. Indeed, entering the Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone was no different from death. There had never been an astral-reaching realm warrior who had walked out of it. There was once a Sea of Soul realm warrior who wanted to explore the mysteries of the Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone. In the end, he was trapped inside for 3 years, never daring to enter again. Yi Chen entered the Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone. A strange glint flickered in Murong Qingqing's eyes as she recalled her encounter with Yi Chen. The first time they met, he wasn't that outstanding, but rather ordinary. The second time, his strength had made great progress, saving her and Qi Xiaofeng's lives at the critical moment. The third time they met, he shocked the world with a single brilliant feat, seizing the first rank of the hidden dragon list from Xikongsheng's hands, shocking everyone. The fourth time they met, Yi Chen found it hard to find an opponent among astral-reaching experts. He suppressed White Bone Ghost General with his own strength, and fought evenly with Floating Mountain Sect's great elder Shen Tujue. Afterward, he even had the guts to snatch the Blood Evil Stone from the hands of 4 extreme astral-reaching experts. Such boldness and methods could only be described as shocking. It wouldn't be an exaggeration to say that although many people hadn't seen Yi Chen in person, his fame was resounding. His fame was unparalleled among the younger generation of South Rudra region. Even the older generation astral-reaching experts weren't as famous as him. Some people even compared Yi Chen to the peak geniuses of other regions, believing that he would be a peak genius no matter where he went, and couldn't be ignored. Even Xikongsheng hadn't received such an evaluation. I believe you can walk out of the bewilderment fog forbidden zone. Murong Qingcheng inwardly said. Mo Yen stared blankly for a moment, then his face revealed an obscure happiness. He was very clear about the terror of the bewilderment fog forbidden zone. Yichen truly wouldn't be able to come out this time. For a moment, he felt incomparably carefree. At the same time, Li Daoxian, Yan Qihua, and Bing Ling all had different expressions. Wang Pao, get lost. With nowhere to vent the evil flames in his heart, Shen Tujue's gaze fell on the white-robed blade artist as he said sinisterly. The white-robed blade artist sneered, I've long wanted to see your strength. Bring it on. Boasting shamelessly, die. The two no longer spoke and started fighting. Splash. Waves rose on the ice-cold lake, and an unconscious figure was tossed up and down. The surroundings were covered in a thick, dusky fog, one couldn't even see their fingers if they stretched out their hands. After an unknown period of time, Yichen woke up from his coma. Where is this? Without any strength left in his body, Yichen spat out the lake water in his mouth with great difficulty, his eyes vacant. After a long time, he gave up on exploring. No matter how powerful his soul power was, it could only scan a radius of a few dozen li. Moreover, this fog seemed to be endless, without any boundaries. Turning his attention from the surroundings to his own body, Yichen smiled bitterly. The situation was not looking good. 50% of his meridians had been damaged, and the undamaged meridians were blocked. Zhen Yuan couldn't pass through, causing the Zhen Yuan core in his dantian to be dim and almost dried up. To make matters worse, Yichen's internal and external injuries were quite severe, causing his physical strength to drop to a critical level. After being soaked in the ice-cold lake water for several days, some of his flesh had started to rot. The only good news was that there was still a green lotus sword chi left in his dantian, which was probably his only life-saving measure. Let's heal the injuries first. If an ordinary person encountered this kind of situation, they would be dead for sure. Fortunately, Yichen had the sky demon flower in his storage ring, which could heal this kind of injury without a problem. A trace of Zhen Yuan flowed out of the dim Zhen Yuan core, flowing out through an intact meridian, and finally into the storage ring. Buzz! A piece of sky demon flower appeared in Yichen's palm. Unable to directly swallow the sky demon flower to heal his injuries, Yichen could only use his remaining Zhen Yuan to absorb the medicinal power and merge it into his left arm. The lack of Zhen Yuan led to the absorption of the medicinal power being very little. In the past, with sufficient Zhen Yuan, he could completely recover in an hour. But now, after 5 days, he had only recovered 30%. Finally, I can move. The sky demon flower had not only recovered 30% of his injuries, it had also greatly increased Yi Chen's physical strength. With this powerful body, ordinary clasping Yuan realm martial artists might not be Yi Chen's opponent. Moving freely on the lake water was not too difficult. Without Zhen Yuan, he couldn't fly. Yichen picked a direction and swam forward with both his hands and feet. 1 day. 2 days. After a week, Yichen finally found a small island. Climbing onto the island, Yichen looked around. This island was only several hundred meters in circumference. It couldn't be any smaller, and could be submerged by the lake water at any time. On the island, there were some strange plants and tall rocks. Between the rocks, there were some small spatial cracks. Lighting a fire and roasting fish, Yichen hadn't eaten for many days. Near the bonfire, Yichen's face was illuminated by the flames, flickering between light and dark. If I'm not wrong, this should be a forbidden area of Star Regional Lake, Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone, known as the place of no return for astral-reaching experts. Although I have soul power, it will be extremely difficult for me to leave. Moreover, with my strength, I can't guarantee my own safety. I can't act on my own. Losing Zhen Yuan had a huge impact on Yichen. He had no choice but to think twice. After eating some roasted fish, Yuchen didn't continue using the sky demon flower to heal his injuries. It was not that he didn't want to, but the last trace of Zhen Yuan in his body had already been used up. He simply couldn't absorb the sky demon flower's medicinal power. As for taking the sky demon flower, he didn't think about it. It was not yet a matter of life and death, so there was no need to risk his life. Unable to heal, unable to recover Zhen Yuan. I can only refine my will. He swallowed a meridian-mending wondrous spirit pill. Without Zhen Yuan, the pellet's refining speed was horrifyingly slow, and its effect wasn't very good either. Yuchen didn't expect the wondrous spirit pill to mend his meridians. He only hoped that it could mend a part of it and provide the simplest Zhen Yuan circulation route. After doing all this, Yuchen took out a blood-red stone from his bosom. Taking a deep breath, he activated his sword intent, filling it with the stone. Chapter 358. The blood-red stone was precisely the blood-evil stone. As soon as it came in contact with the sword intent, it immediately underwent a transformation. A blood-red haze spread out from its surface, shrouding Yuchen within. Kill! A large amount of evil qi appeared out of nowhere and battered Yuchen's sea of soul, raising huge waves. Soon after, a grotesquely shaped demon head was condensed. These demon heads didn't have real bodies, and were illusory and misty. They would occasionally let out ghostly wails and wolf howls, their voices soaring into the sky. Suppress for me. The misty longsword floating above the sea of soul blossomed with layers of halos. The demons condensed from evil qi were swept away by the halos, vanishing like smoke. Following the disappearance of the demons, strands of silver mist gradually pervaded the sea of soul, no different from the mist surrounding the longsword. Silver mist, will? If Yuchen's guess was correct, this silver mist was an illusory will. Will was formless, relying on the soul. The stronger the soul, the stronger the will. However, having a mountain of treasures without a method to obtain them was not enough. Blood-evil stones could refine even more wills to a certain extent. My soul power is several times that of ordinary people, and the potential of my will should also be several times that of ordinary people. I wonder if 4 blood-evil stones are enough. Adding the blood-evil stones from the half-beast blood-evil beast, Yuchen had a total of 4 blood-evil stones. The first one was obtained from killing the blood-evil beast himself, and the second and third ones were obtained from White Bone Ghost General's storage ring while Shintujue and the other 3 were surrounding the half-beast blood-evil beast. The evil qi contained in the 4th blood-evil stone was equivalent to the sum of the previous 3 blood-evil stones. Moreover, the purity of the evil qi was far higher than normal blood-evil stones. 1 blood-evil stone was equivalent to 5 or 6 blood-evil stones. Therefore, although Yuchen only had 4 blood-evil stones, he could use them as 8 normal ones. 3 days passed in a flash. The first blood-evil stone had dimmed, its evil qi disappearing. Originally, there was only a trace of silver mist around the misty longsword. But now, the silver mist was 10 times more than before, as if a layer of fine muslin had been laid down. Transforming will into sword intent and fusing it with the misty longsword is a long process. Right now, laying a good foundation is not a bad thing. With enough will, I won't have to worry about insufficient reserves when comprehending sword intent in the future. Taking out the second blood-evil stone, Yuchen continued to absorb the evil energy within it. During the process of refining his will, Yuchen realized that the stronger his will was, the faster he could absorb the evil aura. It took him 3 days to use up the first blood-evil stone, 2.5 days for the second one, and 2 days for the third one. The silver mist in his soul sea had turned from a thin layer of silk to a thin mist. The total amount was 30 times more than before, but until now, there was no sign of it being full. It seemed like his will and soul power were equal, and the quantity of his will had not exceeded the limit of his soul power. In the past, my soul power was powerful. Its direct effect was a wide range of search, and its indirect effect was my high comprehension, which allowed me to learn things quickly. But now, my soul power has shown a new function, and that is my powerful willpower. Willpower is basically the means of Sea of Soul realm. My soul and willpower potential has undoubtedly surpassed Sea of Soul realm experts. All I need to do is to excavate more. Without much hesitation, Yichen took out the fourth Blood Evil Stone. This Blood Evil Stone came from the body of a half-beast Blood Evil beast. Its color was bright red, as if it was dripping blood. Strands of extremely pure evil aura pervaded the air, dyeing the void red. In terms of quantity and quality, it surpasses ordinary Blood Evil Stones. With a thought, Yichen urged his sword intent toward the Blood Evil Stone. Buzz! A huge amount of evil aura gushed out, causing faint ripples. As the evil aura entered his brain, Yichen's mind gradually became dizzy, and a bloodthirsty impulse filled his heart. Not good. The purity of this evil aura is too high, and its might far surpasses ordinary evil aura. Yichen promptly bit his tongue and urged the misty longsword to suppress the evil aura. The misty longsword was an amalgamation of sword intent. As soon as it was activated, a frightening halo of sword intent spread out, clashing with the extremely pure evil aura. Pitter-patter. The evil aura shattered into pieces, and the halo of sword intent also dimmed. However, Yichen's sword intent was not an ordinary sword intent, but one that contained an immortal nature. No matter how strong the evil aura was, the sword intent never showed any signs of dissipating, wearing down the evil aura. Time flowed like water, passing in the blink of an eye. When Yichen opened his eyes, 6 days had already passed. The misty longsword doesn't contain much sword intent. After all, the sword intent has just reached completion. Only its might surpasses the perfect sword intent, not to mention the level above the perfect sword intent. Without considering the immortal nature, Yichen knew that he was still lacking a bit. The sword intent at completion was the perfect sword intent, and the perfect sword intent was at the same level as Shintujue. Of course, Shintujue walked the path of a warrior, while Yichen walked the path of a swordsman. Their wills were very different, but their realms were the same. Huff! Letting out a mouthful of groundless killing aura, Yichen slowly stood up. After absorbing the evil aura from the fourth Blood Evil Stone, the total amount of his will had increased by 90 times, 10 times more than what he had expected. This 90 times increase allowed Yichen's future path to be incomparably wide, giving him an absolute advantage. More importantly, even with so much will, it still did not exceed the capacity of his soul. The strength of my will has allowed my mind to become much clearer, and the misty longsword is also receiving nourishment. Unfortunately, the sword intent is not perfect, and the efficiency of the misty longsword in absorbing will is very low. I need to accumulate enough foundation to push my sword intent to the perfect realm. The realm could not be ignored. Without the realm, everything would be done with twice the effort for half the result. Once the realm was reached, it would be twice the result with half the effort. This was the gap. A part of the meridians has already been repaired. Suddenly, Yichen felt the Zhen Yuan core in his dantian recovering a trace of vitality. The natural Yuan Qi flowed along the intact meridians and was refined into a small amount of Zhen Yuan. As long as I have Zhen Yuan, it's fine. Without it, the recovery speed is too slow. As the days passed, Yichen's injuries were recovering bit by bit. He had to admit that the heavenly demonic flower's effect was too powerful. As long as he had Zhen Yuan to absorb its medicinal power, all the injuries on his body could be healed. It had an all-round effect. Unfortunately, compared to other injuries, the meridians were the hardest to recover. After all, they were an important part of the circulation route for Zhen Yuan. Therefore, even though most of the injuries on his body had recovered, his damaged meridians had only recovered by less than 40%. This directly caused his Zhen Yuan to be sparse, and the output of his Zhen Yuan had also decreased. Shoving a 7-star pill into his mouth, Yi-Chen continued to meditate. Rumble. After an unknown period of time, a splash of water splashed onto Yi-Chen's face. Opening his eyes, Yi-Chen noticed that the outside of the spatial crack had been filled with lake water. Wave after wave crashed onto the rocks. The island is about to drown. Frowning slightly, Yi-Chen smiled bitterly. Right now, he had to find a suitable place to treat his injuries. He did not want to soak in the lake water all day. Standing up, Yi-Chen walked out of the spatial crack and jumped onto a tall rock. As far as the eye could see, the surrounding fog was boundless, and the resolution was extremely low. Pushing his eyesight to its limit, he could only see things within 10 meters. Rumble. A huge wave, dozens of meters high, split the fog in two. Yi-Chen neither retreated nor dodged. With one punch, he scattered the huge wave, which would be a nightmare for ordinary people. Although his battle power had dropped a lot, which was equivalent to a beginner astral reaching expert, the natural wind and waves posed almost no threat to him. Spreading out his soul power, Yi-Chen followed his intuition and chose a path with smaller waves. In order to save Jin Yuan, Yi-Chen did not fly in the sky. Instead, he gathered strands of Jin Yuan in his feet and ran on the surface of the lake. The lake was boundless, and there seemed to be no end to it. A human figure shuttled through the fog, appearing and disappearing from time to time. What a chaotic gravitational field. It's clearly not a straight line. The gravitational field of Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone was extremely chaotic. Sometimes it was big, sometimes it was small, sometimes it was twisted, and sometimes it was straight up or down. Previously, there was a slight difference, but in the end, there was a deviation of hundreds of li. If his guess was right, this was the frightening part of Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone. Standing on top of the turbulent lake, Yi-Chen took out a large water bottle from his storage ring. The scale of the bottle pointed at the number 7. The second 7 days have passed. I wonder where I am in Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone. As time passed, Yi-Chen thoroughly felt the terror of Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone. Once he entered, he lost all sense of direction. As time passed, his willpower began to weaken, and his mood became fidgety. Walala. In his soul power perception, there was a sound of water breaking 20 li to his left. There is a large object sailing. Raising his brows, Yi-Chen followed the sound by treading on the lake water. Soon, Yi-Chen arrived at his destination. The fog here was much thinner than other places. It was just a thin layer, and one could see hundreds of meters away. In Yi-Chen's sight, a 10-meter-long, several-meter-wide ship was anchored there. A lot of people jumped into the water, and a lot of people jumped out, carrying large and small demonic beasts in their hands. This water region is indeed rich with demonic beasts. There is even a rank 4 demonic beast. On the deck, an old man smoking a pipe revealed a faint smile. Grandpa, how about we stay here for a while and go back after collecting a large amount of demonic beast pellets? Next to the old man stood a young woman in a green dress. She was not extremely beautiful, but she was small and cute with a well-proportioned body. The old man shook his head. No, if we stay too long, we might not be able to go back. The gravitational field of Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone is constantly changing. After a certain time, the light ball will also lose its effect. The woman sighed. You are right, but every time we enter or exit the city, we have to pay a rank 3 demonic beast pellet. The rest is not enough for us. Raising her head in a depressed mood, the woman suddenly noticed a human figure 100 meters away. Grandpa, there is someone over there. Someone? The old man followed the woman's line of sight. Chapter 359. Yi-Chen saw that the grandpa and grandpa had noticed him, so he did not try to hide anymore. He walked out of the mist directly, cupped his hands and said from afar, you too. I have just entered the Forbidden Zone, so I do not know much about this place. I wonder if I could hitch a ride with you. Take me to a place where I can rest. The Forbidden Zone was way too strange. Without a guide, Yi Chen would not be able to find a place to rest. The young woman saw that Yi Chen was very young, and that his aura was pure and vast, with a hint of sharpness. He did not look like an evil person at all. She said to the elder in a low voice, "Grandpa, should we take him with us? We can ask him to pay for the boat. People who have just entered the Forbidden Zone are all rich." The elder nodded slightly, then said to Yi Chen, "You can board, but you will have to pay 3,000 low-rank soul stones for the ride. What do you think?" Yi Chen's cultivation was a bit strange in his eyes. He should be called a clasping Yuan realm warrior. His Jin Qi was way too pure. It seemed impossible to call him an astral reaching realm warrior, since the Jin Yuan of an astral reaching realm warrior was extremely powerful. The aura on Yi Chen's body was not even comparable to it, unless he had hidden his aura. Of course, he did not know that Yi Chen's meridians were damaged, and his Jin Yuan was not even at 5% of its usual level. Plus, it was very complicated and not as pure as usual. But no matter what, Yi Chen was a clasping Yuan realm warrior without a doubt, so he should be able to afford 3,000 low-rank soul stones. Alright. Yi Chen agreed right away. 3,000 low-rank soul stones were nothing compared to his entire wealth. Let's go. The young woman waved her hand. After getting on the boat, Yi Chen realized that the deck was covered with dead beasts, and their pellets had already been taken out. Most of them were rank 3 beasts, and there were not many rank 4 beasts. There was even a rank 5 beast among them. Although he did not know why these people were hunting those beasts, since the pellets of rank 3 and 4 beasts were not that valuable, he did not want to ask too much. He took out 3 small boxes from his storage ring, each of which contained 1,000 low-rank soul stones. He handed them over to the elder. "Here are 3,000 low-rank soul stones, you can count them." After opening the boxes, the old man nodded and put them away. He said, "We'll have to wait for a while before we set sail. Please wait for a while." "Sure." Yi Chen was not in a hurry and stood aside. Besides the elderly man and the young woman who were clasping Yuan realm warriors, there were also 2 clasping Yuan realm warriors among the dozens of warriors who were hunting beasts in the lake. They were the son and grandson of the elderly man. The rest of them were all at the condensing reality realm, which was equivalent to the inner disciples of a normal martial institution. "Did you really come from outside?" At this time, the young woman walked towards Yi Chen and asked. Yi Chen said, "Yes." "Is the outside world fun?" "I've never gone out before," the woman said enviously. "You grew up in the bewilderment fog forbidden zone?" Yi Chen was surprised. "Yeah, after my great-grandfather fell into the bewilderment fog forbidden zone, he never came out. He then got married and had kids, and built my family." Hearing the young woman, Yi Chen felt a bit sorry for her. He did not know how big the bewilderment fog island was, but no matter how big it was, there should be a limit. Staying on the island for a lifetime without seeing the outside world was undoubtedly a kind of torture. Of course, she had grown up on the island, so she was very unfamiliar with the outside world. Perhaps she did not have high expectations for the outside world, but it was a blessing in disguise. Not wanting the young woman to have high expectations for the outside world, Yi Chen shook his head and said that the outside world was very dangerous, and that he had been chased here. "You're lying. Last time, someone said that the outside world was very big and boundless, with a lot of fun places. As for revenge and whatnot, the bewilderment fog island has them too." The young woman said angrily. Yi Chen forced a smile and touched his nose. "Oh right, what are you hunting low-rank beasts for? These rank 3 and 4 beast pellets do not seem to be worth much, right?" Yi Chen could not help but ask. The young woman glared at Yi Chen and explained, "The natural Yuan Qi in the Forbidden Zone is very thin, and the supply is not enough to meet the demand. Pellets and spirit stones are also very rare, and the more we use, the less we have. Therefore, we hunt the beasts and extract the yuan qi from the pellets for our own training. After a long time, the number of high-rank beasts around the island has decreased drastically. So, we have to settle for the next best thing, which is to hunt beasts below rank 5. I see. Yichen suddenly understood. The natural yuan qi in the Forbidden Zone was indeed very thin, not even 30% of the outside world. In this kind of environment, it would be strange if one could train fast. At the front of the ship, the elder took out a head-sized light ball from his storage ring. The light ball shone with an orange light, then gradually dimmed down. The sensory ball is about to lose connection with the sensory tower. Everyone, come up now. Wrapped in zhenqi, the elder's voice spread out into the water. Soon, human figures jumped out of the water and onto the deck. Some of them were carrying beasts on their shoulders, and were covered in blood. Father, what is wrong with this brat? The one who spoke was the elder's son. He was in his 40s, with a muscular body and a full beard. Before, he had been busy hunting beasts, so he did not have time to pay attention to Yichen. Now that he had the time, he finally asked. The elder said, he came from the outside, and has already paid 3,000 low-rank spirit stones. From the outside, should we? The middle-aged man pressed his right hand down. The elder shook his head, no, he is not simple. I do not have the confidence to take him on. Be careful, or I might get killed instead. It is better to be careful. You do not have the confidence to take him on. The middle-aged man froze for a second. The elder was at the peak level of late clasping yuan realm. If even he did not have the confidence to take him on, then it would be pointless for him to go up. Alright, do a head count and get ready to set sail. The elder started to speak. Grandpa, everyone is here. The young man who was in charge of the head count nodded at the elder. Yeah, let's go. The boat turned around and sailed into the fog ocean far away. Through the conversation with the young woman, Yichen found out that she was called Zhao Yushuang, and the elder was called Zhao Heng. The light ball in Zhao Heng's hand was a mysterious sensor ball. The gravity of the Forbidden Zone was chaotic, and the fog ocean was endless. Therefore, the items used to tell directions were completely ineffective. Nobody knew when, but in the center of the Forbidden Zone, there was a sensor tower built on the island. This sensor tower was similar to a lighthouse. As long as one carried a sensor ball, they would be able to sense the location of the tower within 1,000 miles. But, there was a time limit. The longer the time, the weaker the connection between the sensor ball and the tower would be, until the connection was completely lost. For most of the people on the island, not being able to return to the island was a very scary thing. As the boats sailed, the fog around them started to dissipate, until it disappeared completely. From afar, Yichen saw a huge island. The whole island had a radius of hundreds of miles, like an upside-down pot covering the lake water. The highest point was more than 10,000 meters high, and the edge was connected to the lake water. Many boats of different sizes were docked on the dock. There were many buildings on the island, similar to the structure of the Snake Island. The island was divided into 9 levels from the bottom to the top. The outermost level was at the bottom, while the 9th level was at the top of the island. A huge sensor tower stood on top of the tower, and on top of the tower was a light ball that looked like a small sun. We have arrived at the island. The elder named Zhao Heng let out a breath. Every time he went out, he would be worried, afraid that he would not be able to come back. Fortunately, everything had been smooth sailing. Grandpa, what about him? He doesn't have an identity tag. Zhao Yushuang suddenly asked Zhao Heng. Hearing her, Zhao Heng seemed to have thought of something and said to Yichen, "This is your first time here, so you probably don't understand the rules here. Let me use this chance to tell you a bit, in case you lose your life." Rules? Yichen looked at the huge bewilderment fog island and understood. For such a huge island, there must be some rules. Otherwise, it would have been messed up already. There are 3 island leaders, 19 grand elders, and 98 elders. The elders' power is equivalent to the top astral reaching realm warriors, while the grand elders are extreme astral reaching realm warriors. As for the island leaders, they are invincible among the astral reaching realm warriors, and they can easily kill the top astral reaching realm warriors. The whole island is under their rule. Therefore, the rules are set by them. Listen carefully. Zhao Heng cleared his throat and continued, everyone on Bewilderment Fog Island has their own identity token. The identity token is the metal token in my hand. There is a number on it. Zhao Heng took out a palm-sized metal token with a string of numbers written on it. For example, early clasping Yuan realm martial artists would have to pay 10,000 low-rank soul stones, mid-clasping Yuan realm martial artists would have to pay 20,000 low-rank soul stones, late-clasping Yuan realm martial artists would have to pay 30,000 low-rank soul stones, early astral reaching realm martial artists would have to pay 3,000 mid-rank soul stones. Mid-astral reaching realm martial artists would have to pay 9,000 mid-rank soul stones, and late astral reaching realm martial artists would have to pay 27,000 mid-rank soul stones, which can be exchanged with low-rank soul stones. The exchange rate is 1 to 40. If you do not have enough soul stones, you will have to join the forces of the Bewilderment Fog Island and work for them. There is no other option. Zhao Yushuang said, do not be reckless. In the past, there were powerful astral reaching realm warriors who came to the island and did not care about the rules. In the end, they were killed by the 2 masters on the spot, and their bodies were hung on the city gate for 3 days and 3 nights. I got it. Hearing Zhao Heng's words, Yi Qin had a basic understanding of the island's forces. Without exaggeration, if the island were a martial institution, it would be the most powerful rank 7 martial institution, since the rank 6 martial institutions would only have 1 extreme astral reaching realm warrior. However, there were 19 of them, especially the 3 leaders, who were all invincible among the astral reaching realm warriors. They were probably not far from the Sea of Souls realm. Of course, there were no Sea of Souls realm warriors on the island, so they could not compete with the rank 6 martial institutions. You have understood everything I have said. Zhao Heng could not see through Yi Qin, and was afraid that Yi Qin would cause trouble. If it were not for the fact that he liked him, he would not even bother to remind him. Yeah, thank you for telling me. Yi Qin was indeed grateful. Right now, his battling power was equivalent to a beginner astral reaching realm warrior. Not to mention the masters, he would not be able to handle any astral reaching realm warrior. If he were at his peak, he would not have to worry too much, since he believed that the power of the island would not want to humiliate an extreme astral reaching realm warrior either. Otherwise, there would not be 19 top masters. As long as you understand. Let's go. Zhao Heng let out a breath. He could tell that Yi Qin had a calm temperament, and was not an impulsive person. So, he only said those words to remind him. Chapter 360. Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone had existed for countless years, and no astral reaching expert under the Sea of Soul realm had ever walked out of it. As time went by, the people who fell into the Bewilderment Fog Forbidden Zone would no longer have any thoughts of leaving. Generation after generation, the population of Bewilderment Fog Island had long since surpassed 10 million. It was like a human colony isolated from the outside world. On the dock outside the island, hundreds of thousands of ships were docked. These ships were only a dozen meters long, while the big ones were more than 1,000 meters long. The biggest ship was like a moving mansion. The guards on both sides of the ship were all at least mid-clasping Yuan realm. There were also dozens of astral reaching experts. In the middle of the ship was a small sensing tower. The sensing ball on the top of the tower flickered like a star. Zhao Yushuang said quietly, "This is the ship of the Elder Group. I heard that many of the elders are approaching the end of their lifespan, and are frantically searching for elixirs that can increase their lifespan. Elixirs that can increase lifespan? Yi Chen was astonished. He wasn't surprised that so many elders were approaching the end of their lifespan. No matter how powerful an astral reaching expert was, he could only live for 200 years, not even a day more. Once 200 years old, no matter how powerful one was, one would still turn to dust. However, he had never heard of elixirs that could increase lifespan. It should be known that the lifespan of an ordinary person was limited. For example, although ordinary people could live for more than 100 years, some died early, while others died late. Because of the difference in physical quality, those elixirs that could be bought could only increase their physical quality and allow them to live a bit longer. It wouldn't exceed the limit of ordinary people's lifespan. On the other hand, as long as astral reaching experts didn't encounter any accidents, they could almost live for 200 years. Their physical quality was absolutely not an issue. Elixirs that could increase their lifespan were the real deal. Even a day more would be heaven-defying. And, the legend of the reversed 9-turn spirit grass has always been passed down in the bewilderment fog forbidden zone. This kind of spirit grass can increase one's lifespan by 9 years, and it also has the effect of strengthening the soul. Therefore, the experts from the outside frequently come here, all for the sake of finding the reversed 9-turn spirit grass. Hearing her, Yi Chen finally understood how so many peak astral reaching experts and extreme astral reaching experts came here. Of course, there were some who had mistakenly entered the forbidden zone, but the majority should have come for the herb. Unfortunately, they were all trapped inside. There was a slight tremor as the boat reached the shore. After getting off the boat, everyone walked towards one of the city gates. 1 level 3 demonic beast core or 1 low-grade spirit stone per person. Do not sneak in, or you will be killed without mercy. There were a lot of bewilderment Fog Island martial artists outside the city gate. The leader was a late clasping Yuan realm martial artist, who was holding a silver long blade. His sharp eyes scanned through the people entering the city. The line moved forward quickly, and it was Zhao Heng's turn. We have 48 people. Here are 48 level 3 demonic beast cores. Zhao Heng handed over a leather bag filled with level 3 demonic beast cores. The cultivator in charge of counting the inner cores opened the leather bag and counted them carefully. Then, he said in a clear voice, "Let them pass." Before entering the city, Zhao Yushuang looked back at Yi Chen. "Where's your identity token?" A bewildering Fog Island martial artist asked. Yi Chen said, "This is my first time coming to Bewilderment Fog Island, so I don't have an identity token." First time here at Bewilderment Fog Island. The person who asked the question was not surprised at all. He said to the leading late clasping Yuan realm warrior, "Captain, this is his first time here." "Got it. Let me see what cultivation he has." That late clasping Yuan realm martial artist walked over with a silver long blade in his hand. After a careful glance, he frowned. Late clasping Yuan realm martial artist. Seems like more than that. Astral reaching realm. Doesn't seem like it either. What cultivation are you at exactly? He asked. Yi Chen had already thought about this before, so he said without hesitation, early astral reaching realm. Astral reaching realm martial artist. Good. Follow me to the steward's hall. We'll get an identity token there. The steward's hall was located in the empty space between the first and second floor, which was very eye-catching. Entering inside, the man asked Yi Chen to wait for a while before stepping into the hall. Soon, he walked out and said to Yi Chen, "Go in. Take care." After saying this, he turned around and left. Yi Chen took a deep breath and walked into the hall. There was only one person in the hall, who was sitting on the main seat. He seemed to be in his 50s, with a skinny body and a horse-like face. His eyes shone with a vicious light. Judging from the Zhen Yuan ripple on his body, he was a late astral reaching realm martial artist. You are at early astral reaching realm. Don't lie to me. His eyes squinted as a dangerous aura spread out from his body. Yi Chen didn't change his expression. I am indeed at early astral reaching realm. His current Jin Yuan ripple was not even at early astral reaching realm, so there was not a single flaw in his words. Plus, he purposely hid his cultivation because he didn't want to cause too much trouble. 4 people who came to the island for the first time, the higher their cultivation, the more spirit stones they would have to pay. If he said that he was at mid-astral reaching realm, who knew if there would be other fees besides 9,000 mid-rank spirit stones? After all, mid-astral reaching realm martial artists were usually very rich, and early astral reaching realm martial artists might have just reached the realm, so they wouldn't be that rich. The middle-aged man wanted to see something from Yi Chen's body, but unfortunately, besides seeing that he was wounded, he couldn't find anything else. How dare you lie to me? You are obviously at mid-astral reaching realm. The middle-aged man slapped on the armrest and yelled. Yi Chen lowered his head as a cold light flashed through his eyes. He bowed and said, Sir, you must be joking. My aura right now is not even at early astral reaching realm. How could I be at mid-astral reaching realm? Why don't I wait for my wounds to recover before coming for the examination? Of course, I will pay 3,000 mid-rank spirit stones first. Ha! I have a lot of things to do every day. I don't have time to waste on you. How about this? I don't care if you are at mid-astral reaching realm or early astral reaching realm. Your fee will be half of what an early astral reaching realm warrior would be. How about 4,500 mid-rank spirit stones? The middle-aged man actually didn't think that Yi Chen was at mid-astral reaching realm. He only wanted to trick Yi Chen into paying more spirit stones. The extra 1,500 mid-rank spirit stones would be an extra income. It should be known that the spirit stones in the Forbidden Zone were extremely scarce, and the supply could never meet the demand. Those astral reaching realm warriors who came to the island for the first time were undoubtedly fat sheep in their eyes. Of course, he wouldn't dare to take all of the extra spirit stones for himself. At most, 20% would be his, since he still had people above him. Otherwise, he wouldn't dare to be so brazen. 4,500 mid-rank spirit stones. Yi Chen secretly cursed the man for being too greedy. Of course, he wouldn't agree right away. Otherwise, he wouldn't know how much he would have to pay. Isn't the rule of Bewilderment Fog Island that early astral reaching realm warriors have to pay 3,000 mid-rank spirit stones? Why do I have to pay an extra 1,500? Rules are made by people. If I tell you to pay, then pay. What's with all this nonsense? If you don't pay, your dead body will be hanging on the wall tomorrow. Taking a deep breath, Yi Chen said slowly, All right, I'll pay. Very good. You made the right choice this time. The middle-aged man crossed his arms in front of his chest, looking down at Yi Chen. Taking out 4 boxes with 1,000 mid-rank spirit stones and a pile of 500 mid-rank spirit stones, Yi Chen placed them on the ground. I wonder if you can make an identity tag for me now. What's the rush? I have plenty of tags. The middle-aged man waved his hand, sucking in the boxes and 500 mid-rank spirit stones. Counting the spirit stones, the man nodded, yeah, 4,500 mid-rank spirit stones. Seems like you're quite rich. Yi Chen cursed inwardly. This man's greed could no longer be described as insatiable. He was clearly a blood-sucking bug that would not let go until he had sucked you dry. Sir, you must be joking. After paying 4,500 mid-rank spirit stones, the remaining mid-rank spirit stones would not even be enough for me to train for a month. Oh yeah? Do you want me to check your storage ring? The middle-aged man chuckled. Isn't this a little too much? A killing intent leaked out of Yi Chen's heart. In fact, if he wanted to kill the man, he would only need 1 green lotus sword chi. Although his Jin Yuan had only recovered by 5%, there were 9 green lotus sword qi in his dantian, which had all been cultivated. With the power of the green lotus sword qi combined with the sword intent, not to mention the middle-aged man, even a top astral reaching realm warrior would not be his opponent. Too much. Haven't you seen what's worse? You'll have to hand over all the spirit stones you've paid, and I won't get a single one. So, you'll have to hand over 3,000 mid-grade spirit stones to me, otherwise, don't even think about getting the identity token. If Yi Chen was at the late astral reaching realm, then he would only ask for 500 mid-rank soul stones at most. He would not dare to ask for more than that, since who knew if the latter would join the Bewilderment Fog Island and go against him in the future. It would not be worth it just for a few soul stones. If the latter were at the peak level of late astral reaching realm, then the man would only follow the rules, and would not ask for more. After all, a peak-level late astral reaching realm warrior would be more powerful than him in terms of cultivation. What was even scarier was that the former might be a top astral reaching realm warrior. If his luck was even worse, and the latter turned out to be an extreme astral reaching realm warrior, then he knew without a doubt that his outcome would be death. As for astral reaching paragons, the middle-aged man wouldn't even think about it. In all these years, apart from the 3 island masters, he had never seen an astral reaching paragons appear on Bewilderment Fog Island. This kind of person would be roped in by the island master as soon as they arrived, and would be given the position of vice island master. Yi Chen was considering whether or not he should threaten the former, but he decided to give up on it. The green lotus sword qi was his current life-saving measure, and it would take him a few days to recover. Moreover, his current battle power was too low. If he exposed the green lotus sword qi with such a low cultivation base, it would be hard to avoid suspicion. If his cultivation base was at the late astral reaching realm, then he would threaten the latter without the slightest hesitation. After all, with his cultivation base, a higher battle power would be normal. Sorry, I can't take out 3,000 mid-rank soul stones. 1,500 at most. Yi Chen was not afraid of the latter checking his storage ring. The most important mid-rank storage ring had already been hidden in the corner of the low-rank storage ring. Without checking for a long time, it would be hard to find. You're tuning into the Blissful Bookshelf YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.